All right, welcome everybody to Open Hour. We love doing this every week. So we're excited that you're here. It is your hour. I'm your host, Janae Andrus, SALT Community Manager, and I'm backed up by our fantastic program manager, Sage, and much of our core team who is here as well. So we're all here for you. We're glad you're here. And as always, you can find anything you need to find at saltproject.io. That was really a sweeping grand statement. Anything you need to find within SALT. SALT Project. All SALT Project resources are on saltproject.io. And if you want to reach out to us, we would love to highlight the topics that you want to highlight, talk about things you want to talk about. You can reach us at saltproject@vmware.com anytime. And we would love to hear from you. Of course, you can bring things up in the Q&A that we always have plenty of time for at the end of this hour. We are also really excited to hear from you beforehand as well. And that way, some of the core team could maybe prepare a demo, or we can really dive in and have a really thorough answer for you if you'd like to reach out ahead of time. Okay, so diving in, I'm just going to skip this because I didn't actually update our agenda. We have general updates. We've got a bunch of stuff in between, and then we've got release timeline in our Q&A. So, and we're going to have some awesome updates from Sage. So we're looking forward to that. And we'll dive into the general updates. So our virtual meetup is this month. Oh man, it still says next month from April. Man, let's just highlight all of Janae's slide fails. Okay. Okay, so our virtual meetup this month is Wednesday, May 19th. So we do the third Wednesday every month at 5 p.m. Mountain, which is also 10 Universal Time. And it's going to be really cool. Our guest speakers are our working group captains. So we are actually going to have them all come and give us an update on what's going on with the working groups and really walk us through what projects they're working on, what they're excited about moving forward, what hurdles they're facing. It's going to be really exciting. And I really hope that we get a lot of people who maybe have been involved in the community, either a short time or a long time, whatever, but who maybe haven't participated in a working group yet, or it's been a while, or you're interested in another group. This is a really cool opportunity to really hear from the different working groups and get more exposure and understand just how accessible it is to be part of a working group. So I don't want just lack of knowledge to be a hurdle for being involved. So hopefully this virtual meetup will really help bridge that hurdle for everyone. And we're really excited about it. So obviously our working group captains are some of our favorite people. So we're going to have a really great time. We hope you join us. So next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Mountain. And we are also starting virtual meetups next month in the Asia Pacific Japan region. So it'll be 11 a.m. Singapore time. We haven't picked an exact date yet, but it will be in June. We'll be doing a config management 101 kind of thing. And so we're really excited to offer some meetups in a different time zone. And that will be awesome. And we plan to be ongoing with that. So keep that in mind, especially if you're talking to people who maybe are in another time zone and feel that that's a blocker for them getting to our virtual meetups live. We will have more options. We're excited. And our docs working group is today at 2 o'clock at Mountain Time. So come be part of that. Speaking of working groups, our docs working group is awesome. And we will have our Twitch stream with Tyler tomorrow on Item Cloud. Tyler is actually our working group captain for the Item Cloud working group. And honestly, this Twitch stream has gotten really popular. So people really enjoy learning more about Item from Tyler, who is our Item expert, really. So jump on that. And he actually does that 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 p.m. Mountain. And we are on Twitch. We are on, oh man, we're everywhere. You know, so SALT not only is going to be in different time zone meetups, but we're really everywhere. We're on Twitch, we're on Slack, we're on GitHub, we're on Reddit, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. So come find us, come check out what we're doing. Our social channels are about to get a lot more active. So keep an eye on those over the next couple of weeks. They're going to start buzzing and we're really excited about it. And speaking of, we are also on Hacks and Salt Air. There are new episodes. The Hacks is our podcast with Chunga and Tom being our creator of Salt. And so it's really awesome. They have a new episode every week. So there's a new episode this week. You can listen to that podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. And also we have a new episode of Salt Air on our YouTube channel, which is me and Tom getting granular on salt for less than 10 minutes an episode, mostly, unless Tom gets on a monologue, and then it's a little more than 10 minutes. So, but it's always worth it. So check out those new episodes. They're a lot of fun. And I'm going to say for like the 7th time, last chance for Salt Stack swag. And I'll say it for a few more weeks. But as soon as it's gone, it's gone. We are not replenishing the Salt Stack swag because it's going to be replaced with Salt Project swag here in a couple of months. So Sage has all the Salty Girl stickers, as you can see her showing off. And go to store.saltstack.com. We've got all kinds of fun stuff. So go get what you can get. SaltConf, we're going to try to update you on SaltConf every open hour for the rest of the year, because we'll be doing our virtual 2-day event, November 3rd and 4th. It will be 2 days this year. Last year it was 1. Most of the feedback for SaltConf last year was too much awesome to take in one day. So we love that feedback. And we are doing 2 days now. And speaking of awesome content, our call for speakers will open June 7th through July 19th. So be ready to submit all your fantastic content to fill our 2 days. We are so excited about this. So June 7th to July 19th, mark your calendars, pause your summer vacations and get your content in for SaltConf. I'm kidding. Do not pause your summer vacations. Please take one, especially after COVID. We all need vacations. Okay, we're very excited for SaltConf. So mark your calendars for November. And I'm going to turn it over to Sage for the next few slides to talk to us about working groups, the release timeline, and a bunch of other updates. So take it away, Sage.
Yeah, and Barney, if you're still on, we met this week for the first time with the security working group. It was fantastic. I think we'll have the video posted soon. And this is actually really exciting. Is anybody else excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. It was excellent.
It was really good. We also met, I met with the release working group, and that one is also, there's some overlap with that. And we talked about making sure that we have some process in place and what that's going to start to look like. We made a lot of leaps and bounds there as well that will actually propel a lot of things with the security working group. And that's very exciting. If you're interested in seeing those and the work that we're doing, I will make sure that it's in the notes so that you can get to the project board. You can see some more details. And if you're interested in working on either one of those or any of the working groups asynchronously, we can do that. Those are out there, and I'll make sure those links are there. Yeah, go ahead. You can go to the next one. No big deal. So a couple of announcements. You want to go to the next slide, Janae? There we go. So the Bootstrap script needs to be updated for Python 3. So changes are coming. We actually think we're going to do this before we completely drop Python 2 support, which actually happens during the Silicon release. We will do a sweeping change. There's a PR that's out there to drop a lot of the support that's there, but then we will also drop the support as we move the Salt version 3000 and 3000.x versions into outside of CD support. Those will go into only extended support, and that happens in August at some point. I'd have to go look at the exact date. But we will update the Bootstrap for Python 3 soon. There's some things coming about that, and I think we even have some links in the Bootstrapped repo that I can put into the notes if people are interested in seeing that. So just wanted to announce that here. Then Salt class. Salt class was actually written by a community member in 2017, maybe earlier than that. That community member is no longer active, and we have tried to keep that up somewhat. We don't, part of the core team doesn't know a ton about it, but in order to keep that up to date and to give that to the people that are using it, which is kind of a small group, we're going to move that into a Salt extension module. So just wanted to announce that and let people know that we would like to continue development for the people who are using that. So we think that would be better suited in a Salt extension module. That one's a little bit different than some of the Salt extension modules that we've done. So it's going to be kind of fun to figure out how to do that and what that's going to look like. And we're excited about that as well, so that we can also keep that feature for people who are using it. Then also we have a bunch of package and repo changes that are coming in May, and you will see a blog post about that very, very soon, I think. I think we're really close to posting that. probably in the next few days. Any questions about that or anything? No? So the release. So I'm moving the release date. We have not tagged for the release yet, and wanted to have this go out on the 19th, but we have some test failures and problems that are happening and we're not ready to tag. So we absolutely just have to move this out so that we can get this done. Part of the release working group is going to look at some of these things that make it so that we can be better about this and not miss these dates. But we're not there yet. We're going to get there. So I'm sorry to delay this another week out, but we're simply not ready. If you're interested in seeing those, I will put the links in the notes so that you can see the PRs that are out there that we're waiting for and trying to get test fixed to get those merged in. I'll make sure that those links are there. They are going into the freeze branch right now, and then we will port those forward into master. Any questions about that? This will not delay Silicon. That we had already been thinking that we would push Silicon out so that we could do more development as we delayed this the first time. So 1 week delay is not going to change that date. But I made this decision this morning, so I have not updated a timeline. I made one, haven't updated it. So I didn't even show it here. Seemed silly to do so, but I'll make sure that that's available. And if I can get it fixed today, I'll put it in the notes so that people can see it. Cool.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sage. Okay, so now it's y'all's time. So we have plenty of time for any questions, or any concerns or any thoughts anyone would like to share around the SALT project, anything maybe you've seen on our channels, anything that's come up in Slack or come up in as you've contributed or as you've used SALT that you have questions about. You have plenty of time to access the core team and the strategy team, and any questions you have, we are here for you. So feel free to bring anything up.
I guess something we haven't highlighted today, but we could definitely discuss. And if people want to know more about it, we're putting together a plan for using Slack, and Slack will be a paid workspace, and we're going to do a lot more with that. We're going to use a lot of the features that just come out of the box of Slack that we have never implemented before. And now that we can have a lot of focus with our community and with this project specifically, we're going to really start to use those features and make sure that it's a really good experience. So when you even come into Slack, instead of just going to a general channel and being like, so what do I do here? We'll guide you. We'll give you a little bit of information to say, hey, here's some channels you might be interested in. Here's some channels you might be interested in if you're developing SALT, or maybe if you're a user of SALT, or if you're doing multi-master, or maybe you're doing Syndic, maybe you're doing this, or if you're working on networking and some other channels and things like that, so that people are a little bit guided in that way. We're really excited about that. Janae and I put together, we've started a plan, and we're going to keep working on it, and we'll roll that out over the summer. And so that's exciting.
I'm so excited about it. I think it's going to keep our Slack workspace so clean and clear. And I love eliminating confusion wherever we can, right? Being able to say, this is what we're doing. So, I mean, you wouldn't know it, but Sage and I are actually like ridiculously organized people. We just also have a lot. So it's like, it's really organized. It's just so much organization. You can't see the forest through the trees through the forest. I don't know the phrase, but it's going to be great.
The whole thing. Yeah, and that kind of goes with we've had it in the notes, and we've touched on it a little bit. We are putting together a communication plan, and we'll make that public once we kind of have it a little more together. It's such in a draft form right now that it wouldn't make any sense to show people, but we can get it into a little bit better format and show it to everyone and what we're doing and how we communicate. And a big piece of that is Slack, and that we're not using it to its full potential, and we should. We have it. Let's use it.
Absolutely. Well, for those of you on the call now, is there anything on Slack that like maybe particularly frustrates you, or a feature that you'd like to see, you know, being able to, like Sage had mentioned last week, being able to tag someone for a specific topic, that kind of thing? Any features you'd like to see, or having a channel guide like we talked about?
I'm just gonna be glad to have more than like a week of history.
Right? Me too. I use that a lot, so it's going to be nice. We'll also use the user groups, so you could tag a whole bunch of people at once, like everybody that's in the working group for security. You could tag them and say, hey, I have a question about security, or how do I get started? Or maybe we even have like captains and things like that, so that you can actually get in touch with somebody through that space and not necessarily need to know their name or anything, and moderators and stuff like that. We haven't used those in the past because they're ever moving targets, but I think that we're starting to settle on that, and so that they won't be quite so difficult to maintain.
All about connecting the right resources for the right, I want to say the right people, but whoever needs them, making the resources available. I think that one of our major goals with SALT Project right now is, I want to say transparency, if that's the best, but just really clarity. I think it's a better word, you know, having clear source of truth, clear resources, clear calendar, all those things. Oh, speaking of calendars, we have a calendar plugin now, and it should be live in the next week. So just, I know, so exciting. Anyway, I mean, we've like had a couple calendar plugins that we've tested, but now we have one that's like happening. Very excited. So
that's exciting.
Plug it all in and make it pretty. So
yeah, and Gareth actually wrote a SALT Slack engine back in the day. And so we can even put some automation around some stuff that we've never really done. And we should. We're going to use it. I'm going to learn how. I'm going to do it. It's actually broken right now, but we're fixing it. They had an update and we need to fix a few things. It's some simple fixes, but it will be fixed. And then we can start using it more. We're actually really excited about that. And I'm actually really excited about just sort of all of the things that we're getting with the social media, and we have a Twitter account. We have, you know, we're going to be using these things, and it's really dedicated to the community.
yes,
Like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not like where previously, you know, we had the Salt Stack social channels, and every now and again the community would request a particular call out or whatever, but this is just SALT Project social channels now. So it's all community, and we now have a dedicated team on it, and they're going to be getting started here in the next week or two. And so we're very excited to see those channels start buzzing. Gareth will be very busy combing them for for falsehoods or anything else. Gareth's always so on top of, so Gareth doesn't know this, I'm just gonna say this. We were meeting in our initial meet with the new social media people, and they said, okay, so how about monitoring comments and things like that from your community? And I was like, oh, Gareth will do it. And don't worry, we're kidding. He just tends to look at it anyway. We actually do have a plan in place for monitoring those, but we had fun joking about that, how Gareth is a pro at Twitter. He's like,
no
thanks
comments
for that today.
no comments.
I'm not sure how to respond to that. Professional what?
Really good at keeping an eye on things. It was funny though, the team was like, oh wow, it's really good, you have people that are on top of it. So anyway, we just have a great community, so, and a great team. Great core team.
We do. That's actually really amazing. So it's one of the things that I think we've said before, and I'll reiterate it, that as we were acquired by VMware, one of the things that they really love about what we bring to the table is the community. This is a piece that they don't really do. And we've been trying to really push a few of our ideals about how community should be run and how it is open source and how we work in public towards VMware, because they don't totally do that as far as we can tell. Maybe in some ways, maybe with some projects, and really pushing the envelope with that to do what we've done here to make it, you know, accessible to the community and make it community run, but also to have a lot of support from this, you know, these teams, and from the core team and from Janae and I, and to get these things off the ground. Because not only does it need the community but it needs sometimes just a little bit of propel to just start or to get started and to make those things happen. And we're really seeing that, especially with like the docs clinics, the test clinics, the docs jams, the port to master jams, and all the working groups and the meetups and the work that's getting done there. And we're just looking forward to continuing that relationship with the community and to just make it clearer, like we said, make more clarity, be more explicit about what we're working on so that we can also get the community involved, keep the involvement there.
Absolutely.
grow.
We're not hand holders, we're catalysts. We just have to,
Yeah.
you know, and then it goes.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
Good. So does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up or discuss?
I have a minor complaint, and it may not be that relevant going forward.
Yeah.
So I ordered a couple of the Death Star posters.
Yeah.
And so it may not be relevant because I don't know how often we're going to have posters in the Salt Star going forward, but
Yeah.
They sent them in this big box. Right?
Really?
They just rolled them up, stuck them in here with the other stuff I ordered. And so I have a couple of banged up posters.
No.
Not so cool, right?
They used to send them in tubes. They must have run out of the tubes because that's how they're normal.
That's what I would have preferred, is to have them in tubes. So I
And
know that's
someone-
a fulfillment, place that does that. So I don't know how much control you have over that.
I didn't shove them in the box, if that's what you're. We have a fulfillment center that does that.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, if I had packaged that, I would have included some kind of prank thing because it's your box. So that's obviously not.
Oh yeah, it would have exploded with glitter, right?
Right. Would have been great. No, so and if anyone else on this call has ordered a Death Star poster, which is highly likely, in the past, they can probably tell you that they used to arrive in the tubes. Sage is nodding, so I think she got one. So they must have run out of the tubes, or I don't know, asked an intern to do it. No offense, interns. We have wonderful interns in the past. We'll send you a couple more posters, Cody. That's no problem.
Awesome.
I'm gonna text our guy right now. We're on a texting basis at this point. So much store stuff. Did you get 2 posters?
I did.
I will solve that problem. That is an easy one. And I'm sorry that happened. And that's no good because I love the Death Star poster. I keep it by my desk usually. Okay. That was awesome. That's a solvable one. Anybody else? I can fix things.
We can fix, or we could discuss things. We're good at that too. Something I kind of mentioned this to Gareth, and I think I mentioned it to a couple other people, and I'm interested in doing this. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like, and maybe we'll just do it here at the open hour. And maybe if it grows, we may need to find a different time and space for it. But I'd like to start doing demonstrations of things that are coming. So not only features, but if we have just a large change, maybe we're refactoring something like, there's some things that are coming that I think we could actually demo to the community and say, so this is what we changed and how we changed it, and show it as it's not necessarily been merged. Even we could even say, so we think that we're at a done point. We could demo this. It's something that we do internally, but I'd love to expose that to the community and get feedback. And wondering if people are interested in that, if they would like to see that. I think that we can do a lot of demos succinctly, so it wouldn't take a lot of time. We would probably run through those quickly, and we can definitely announce them prior. Any interest in that?
Absolutely.
I think that,
Very interested in that.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I'm giving my full 120 million% support behind that idea.
I think there's, especially with all the new features you've open sourced, maybe demoing those for people. There's a lot of people who have no idea what Delta Proxy is. So I've been
Yes.
on a few other Slacks like network to code and packet
Mhm.
pushers and DevNet ops. And I've been on the Salt Stack channels there and saying, oh, Delta Proxy's released. They're like, what's that? And when I explain that to them, they're like, that sounds awesome. How do I use it? And, right now is like go patch a bunch of files and stuff. But I think a demo of native minions and Delta Proxy certainly
Yeah.
people would love to see.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think there's probably even some other things. I mean, we probably wouldn't want to do every little bug fix or anything like that, but maybe large things or things that we've made significant changes to. We want to be like, hey, this is really changing. We want to make sure people are aware. Those can kind of come and go. We'd even love to see that from the community too. Like if you guys are putting in PRs and doing stuff, demo those too. It'd be great.
Yeah, recently somebody just mentioned having like lightning talks for other things entirely, but like
That's a good idea.
that's a great idea, because you can just record a quick 5-minute screencast and be like, hey, here's this thing that I did, or here's how I do this thing with Salt. And it doesn't have to be like an amazing production with a full company or something, just totally low key and just, hey, this is what I'm doing. And yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I love lightning talks. That's a great idea. Yeah, we can even pre-record. So internally, we do that as a team. We have every other week we do demos with sort of the greater engineering group within Salt and Enterprise and Config and all of those. And a lot of times people are like, well, I'm not going to be there that day. I'm off that day. And I'm like, why don't you record something that's 10 minutes and walk us through it? And then we'll just have people get with you after if they have questions, when you are back. Totally could do that here. Completely appropriate. We'd love to see stuff like that. Or even like proof of concepts. Hey, I'm thinking about this thing and I don't know that I want to write a whole step just yet. I kind of want to show you what I'm thinking. Cool. See it. That's brings really good discussions, I think.
Yeah, and additionally, if someone ever is maybe watching a Salt Air episode and Tom talks about something that you want to have elaborated on, we can either do that in another Salt Air episode, or we can do that here in Open Hour. We can dive into something, absolutely. So.
Another thing that comes to mind for me, and I'll probably talk with Derek more at it during the docs working group, but there used to be some like how-to guides on the Salt Stack website, and I think since that's kind of gone away, I mean they probably still exist, but probably not the best place for them. Is there like a good place to put community contributed how-to guides so that they're in like a Salt project space and they're not on personal websites all over the place? I'm just thinking like a consolidated place, like this is how you do. The one I always pick on is like Vault integration, right? Or how to do any sort of integration in more than just a reference, configuration document.
Yeah.
Like here's a step-by-step how to do it.
Yeah, like an actual how to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do X. Here are the steps. Yeah, I think that would be great.
Well, and we've been talking about.
Guide.
Go ahead. What was that, Wayne?
I was saying we just need to get a Salt Awesome repo. I don't know if you've seen those collections of repos, but it's become kind of a thing where they're something awesome. So Shell Awesome or Python Awesome or whatever, and then it's just a collection of curated libraries that people can contribute to. And so having a Salt
There is a
Awesome.
Salt. There is.
Yeah, there's an awesome Salt Stack. Yeah.
Yeah. Two things with that is one, we've actually been asked whether we can take ownership of the awesome Salt repo out there, and I'm thinking we should. I just need to figure out what exactly the process is for the VMware, stamp of approval process for doing so. And then, but that's being a linked list, right? where it says, hey, I'm going to gather what's on the community, what people maybe are posting here. As for when it comes to a place for, hey, what's in the official doc sets, I've been actually having conversations with Sage and others about this problem, because right now, if you imagine different documentation as different, like as expressed by different quadrants, if you had like tutorials, how-tos, explanations, and reference guides, our SALT docs, our main SALT docs are like reference docs. The SALT user guide is kind of like an explanation doc set, but we don't have the tutorials or how-tos in a place, except you can find kind of seemingly at random when you discover them, tutorials sitting inside of the SALT docs at some point. You're like, whoa, I didn't know these were here, or I wonder how outdated this is. And same with the getting started, which is an entirely different doc set using a different static site generator. And I was thinking the same thing, that the SALT user guide, so since we've updated our themes and we're actually starting to adopt the Furo theme and Sphinx that's used by more and more of the Python community, we could use the left-hand nav to kind of shrink, to kind of use drop downs and stuff. And I honestly think the SALT user guide should have like a section that's just tutorials that you could just hit the drop down maybe and just take a look at maybe what's there, or have people submit them there. Unless people felt it was warranted to have a separate doc set. But you know, I don't want to get in the habit of making too many separate ones, because we're already kind of, there's benefits, right, to not having everything in one place, but then you start to get trade-offs when it's also all over the place too. So but yeah, we can talk about that in the docs working group if you want also, because I think that's something I've been thinking about, and something we're really missing a lot is that, for example, we don't even have in the user guide here's the user guide explaining how SALT works and how to set stuff up, but we have nothing in there that goes how to set up your own lab, how to use something, how to use Vagrant or maybe Docker to just play around with something. And since people don't even have that as a starting place, they're either stuck with either only getting that through some kind of training platform online, or they have enough know-how to try to work it out themselves.
To navigate those two things. Yeah. And I think that it's a really interesting idea. And we've actually talked about this a lot, Janae and I, with Derek and a lot of the core team members, Lisa as well, who's a fantastic tech writer here. And she and I talk a lot about like, what is our content strategy? And we are still kind of coming up with that. But as we talk about these 4 quadrants of documentation, I think we're getting there. And so I'm interested to hear you guys from the community about what you're thinking about, because I think it aligns with what we're thinking about too. And we're like, oh yeah, cool. Let's do that. Let's do that in the working group today. And then we'll talk about what that looks like going forward, and how we can actually do some tasks, make some small leaps and bounds to say, hey, work's actually getting done, like what we did with the user guide. And we'll make some plans with that. I was talking to Wayne this week about, we just need to put it on the calendar to do the docs jam and the tests. We do have the test working group is now on the calendar. That is going to be the first Thursday in lieu of the test clinic every month. The next one will be in June. It's on the calendar, and I will, if you haven't seen that, it's in the mailing list, and then I've sent it to a few people, and it is on just the calendar that's out there. I'll add that to the page that's on our website so that people can see it there as well. And we're going to start just planning jams that happen in the release cycle or monthly or something like that. And we'll just go through them every, through that cadence and keep them on the calendar and get ready for them. And I think that's probably the best way to go to get some of those, like, oh, I have a whole day or a half day or 6 hours or whatever it is to do work. And we come to that with like a really specific set of work that we're going to accomplish, a goal and incentive to be there.
I think the hesitation with doing a monthly docs jam has been like, we want to vary it to be able to get different people and different availability. We don't want to lock into a day that doesn't work for someone that really would like to be involved another month. But we have talked about this a lot, and actually I think goes even, it's more than even just these different user guides that are created by other people that we've talked about, linking to so that you can access them. It's also people do different meetups and things completely unrelated to us talking about salt. Like there was just one, oh shoot, where was it? It was a group in China, and they did a whole thing on salt. And so we want to have like those links to things that we didn't create that aren't even related to us, but so many people are focused on salt and trying to solve problems and find solutions on their own. And we'd like to not only connect with them more, but link those things so that we're not, reinventing the wheel all the time or turning where we don't need to. So to link you guys to everything, so we can just really connect the community even better through our website. We're trying to drive it all back, into, having all those links in our repos, in our site, everything in one place. So this is really great feedback to hear. Like Sage was saying, it sounds like what we're working on is aligning with what you're wanting, and that feels really good. So we're excited.
And also when it does come to Docs Jam stuff, for those who came to the last Docs Jams take a considerable amount of work and planning to kind of really understand what is the best way to actually empower, what's the best way to set people up for success in that, because docs can be very complicated depending on what you're trying to achieve. If the goal is rather vague and requires a lot of expertise to research and complete a task versus if it's outlined and as straightforward as possible if it comes to something like a format conversion. And so there's a large gap there, one that may take more and more salt expertise, and one that can take brand new tech writers who've not used salt before. And so it's an interesting balance, because we want people who are new to open source to be able to get involved, and but we also want to make sure that large some epics like the one that I have about the undocumented options or underdocumented options, that requires a lot of work and kind of knowledge of salt and to be able to kind of traverse through stuff. And so that's probably another reason why it's not each month, because it would be a lot of kind of going, how would what should we do for the most success this month? And also jams can be pretty exhausting if you're going like, hey, this is another all day event. Next one's, in 2 weeks or something. It'd be pretty. No, I didn't mean that. I meant that hypothetically. We don't have one.
Right.
But yeah.
We're like, what, Derek? What?
No special announcements right now.
Well, +1 for Docs Jams, because that's why I'm here. It was just a fun, easy way to get started.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jim,
What-
Gary was really involved in that, and also a few others who, a lot happened because, the Salt User Guide as it is right now is honestly due to that. So.
Although,
Right.
yeah, for this case, there was the jam, and then,
There's the after.
yeah, I'm doing all of the copy editing on that. That takes time too. So we don't want to like overlap.
Yeah. Or maybe we need to have a second one, or it kind of depends. Like what we did with the Ports to Master, we did a lot of work ourselves, and then we opened it up to a jam. And now we probably need to do a test jam for the Ports to Master. It's some really specific work, and that one's getting even more difficult. So I love the way Elisa put it when we did the Docs Jam recently, that it's like, I would have spent less time had I written the user guide myself, but that's not open source. It's not teaching people. It is harder to do that. It does take longer, but we're building a community, and that is really what we value, and that is our goal. So we take the time to do that. We take the time to show people how to set up their environments. We try to welcome people and make sure that it is inclusive. And that is actually the heart of open source. And that's why we're in it. That's why we're here. And so we want to continue that.
Okay, one comment on the last Docs Jam.
Yeah.
You set up all these issues for, convert to RST. And then there's a whole, now I have a whole second one for the review of that.
Right.
And it's just too many moving parts. So how about just, I would suggest, doing the Docs Jam, but just marking them all as draft.
Sure.
And then
Yeah,
edit that.
Yeah, so what's interesting about like a strategy like that, so that one, I don't foresee another one like that being as similar. But even with the last jam, the problem would have been, let's say 20 draft merge requests or something. And then now it's like, hey, we all need to not only do a heavy, because we did initial heavy as well as we could technical review and get it in. A lot of it was reviewed actually initially in the Google Docs by at least technical review. And it gets to a time thing, because we also want, because sort of like when they talk about minimal viable product or minimal viable docs, is you are right, there's that next step of going like, oh great, now that we have it all out there, now we're doing this improvement stage, which feels like, are we doing yet another step to this? But a lot of the people involved in the Docs Jam had different varying levels of experience. And so if it was, hey, let's get this all into RST so that we aren't just pointing people to a Google Doc first, and then from there clean it up, it allowed people to then have a place at least to go and look. Otherwise, people maybe would be stuck for a while looking at, I don't know, draft MRs and that kind of thing. And we also learned a lot then. Just in the process of simply getting that stuff in there, we learned a lot about, oh, hey, we need to modify some style guide stuff. Or actually you have even the process of deeply reviewing has been, hey, wait a minute, we didn't mention this in the style guide. Should this be like this? Or it leads to a lot of things that within a jam would be, I think it'd be asking for too much in too small a window of time.
Right, it was out of scope of the jam. But
yeah,
we learned a lot.
But it's just unique to this jam too. So,
it was,
yeah.
But we also did a retrospective and made a document, although it was when we were still in between websites. And so I don't know where that is, actually. We should find it and publish it somewhere else too, because I think that that's really valuable and need to go back and look at that, because we did learn a lot of things from that Docs Jam that we want to do slightly differently. And kind of set it up for more success. It was really successful. Don't get me wrong, but we can always learn, right? We can always
actually on that note, Jim, because of that experience with the Salt install guide right now, we're converting stuff over from Salt Docs and the repo Salt project install docs. And we're going to do exactly what you just mentioned is, hey, if we're going to be just lift and shift, it's already in RST, for example, well, the stuff on Salt Docs. And it hasn't been tested. So that was one main difference between the user guide and what we see in Salt Docs is they're on various levels of not tested before, like not even technical review yet. And so that transition of those docs do need all the review up front before each of them get merged in, as opposed to let's lift and shift and then go, wait a minute, we just copied a bunch of stuff that doesn't even work. We're going to then go through that process. So like you said, it's not doubling the efforts, and it's also ensuring we're providing good quality docs.
Yeah. Another thing I added was like everyone is great, just about just helping people do the technical stuff, right? Just because for new crimbers, that's the hand holding you need. And I eventually had to bail because I had too old a version of Windows and like nothing would work, but then I figured it out later.
Yeah, no, that was
really nice.
That's a good point. And Sage, I'd really like to see that retro probably on the Docs Jam, because I do remember that a significant amount of it was let's get you up and running, because a lot of people, a good chunk of people who attended were new to contributing to open source in general, or they had contributed to open source, but not with like our tool chain. And so we also use it as a way to clean up to get like some basic contributing guide info on if someone's using Sphinx and Python. And you're right, we had people from Mac, we had using Macs, people using Windows, people using different environments and who had not ever done this stuff before. And so a lot of the opening was, let's get you up and running. And please ask any, we even split into different groups, actually. One that was focused on a lot of the Windows effort that Elisa was leading. But yeah, that's a good point, is there's a big chunk of it that's that can become that way depending on the scope of the jam.
In fact, we could put it on the agenda for next week, that I will find that artifact and we can kind of briefly review it. Probably won't take the entire time, maybe 20 minutes at the most, just to see what that artifact is and where it lives, so that we can review it again. I think that'd be really good as we go forward. We did it, and I think we were in transition, so I'm just not sure where it is. It's probably in a Google Doc somewhere, maybe. Hope we did. I think it'd be good to review.
Oh, this is awesome. This is like one of my favorite parts of open hours, when, you know, things come up and it really gets our wheels turning on stuff maybe we're already working on, but it helps us really get a direction and momentum and understand what everyone else wants and what the focus is. So it's good. And like I said earlier, it's really validating that this isn't pushing us a different direction. This is validating the direction we're headed. So this tells us we're really getting in sync, that we are in sync with the community, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's exactly what we want. So yeah, we'll walk through that together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Does anyone want to bring anything else up in the last bit that we have? We still have a few minutes. Plenty of
I had
minutes.
one question.
Yeah, Andrew.
So I found that there was a half-finished module for dealing with states to create or change Windows tasks through the task manager. And I was wondering, was it unfinished because there was just not enough community support and there was no real requirement for it? Or was there something else about it at the time that it was, you know, a bad idea to pursue because of some type of conflict with the OS or something else?
Do you have a link to it or anything? Or
Yeah, let me get that 1 second.
yeah, we may have
I'm
to
also
take that
curious.
back to.
I'm
Yeah.
also curious when you say it's unfinished, what you mean by unfinished.
Sure. Yeah. No, let me get that link for you. Should have been prepared.
That's okay. Yeah. All
Totally fine. Or we can double check. And by we, I mean Gareth and Sage.
right. We'll find out. Yeah, it may, if it's deep enough and we don't have any idea, we'll do that next time for sure, and we'll bring it, or even put it up in Slack if you need it sooner.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in chat.
Yeah, go ahead. I know with Windows, they often got refocused over the years, but we're trying to go back, and if there's been a gap, make sure that we're getting like a feature gap where we didn't finish something, that we're going back and getting that prioritized and getting it fulfilled. But not always.
Okay. So yeah, it's in there now. And I'm on Slack, Andrew Britton. So, you know, I know we're out of time. But if something rings a bell, let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably just keep working on this one and getting it ready for my my setup.
Yeah. Is it time sensitive for you, Andrew, or is it something that we could spend some time on next open hour, or do you want us to get with you on Slack the next day?
Yeah, no, absolutely not time sensitive, unless someone realizes, oh my God, we didn't do this because it'll launch nuclear missile.
Everyone stop everything.
Right. You know, short of like, you know, global meltdown. Yeah, I think, you know, I think I'm all right.
Okay, that's good.
So just to follow up on my question, when you said it's unfinished, so the PR that you linked to was merged into the develop branch, and we have an open pull request to get it into the master branch. It just hasn't gotten merged in, probably because either it needs tests or the tests are failing. Is that kind of what you were referring to? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I
not
guess
in the
just
master
wondering why
branch
it
yet.
hadn't
Okay.
made it into the final product yet.
Yeah, it's just because no one has been, for lack of a better word, a champion for that particular PR. and make sure that the tests get pass or get
Right.
some attention and pass, so we can
Well,
get it
we,
merged.
It
we
looks
might be
like
able to
it
get you
has
that attention then.
tests. So it'll just be like getting the test to pass, because DWAS did mention about a year ago that there were test failures that needed to be looked at. So it's probably just that is, massaging the tests into passing state, and then as soon as they are, I don't see any reason why that would not be merged. So
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, just to put it in additional context, we have a bunch of these that are waiting for either, as Wayne said, just tests that need updating or just need tests in general. So it's not that we didn't see it as a priority. It's just no one has had time to do what needs doing to get this one in.
I think one of many this is actually good because Chad had written tests for it, so that's good to see. But there are many of them that don't have any tests at all. So that's what I work on during test clinics. If somebody doesn't have any other more pressing issues, I just pull these ones off the backlog and say, okay, what tests need to be written, and then start writing them. And it's been a surprising experience. Parts of it have been very good, and parts of it have been a royal pain. The good parts are that, I have learned so much more about salt, deep into the bowels in some cases. And so that's been really good to be like, oh, okay, now I actually know kind of where some of this stuff is happening, and start to wrap my head around it. Because when you write tests, with at least meaningful tests, you kind of have to process that.
Right.
But on the other hand, some of that's frustrating because you come across some code and you're like, oh, look, there's no tests here. Great.
Yeah, and so like what Wayne and I were talking about is to do like a jam monthly, or maybe every quarter we have sort of 2 or 3, and just get them on the calendar already, and maybe not even know what the scope of those are at this time, but because we know we have the work, like for this, we know that there's work to be done. And even if we did a half day and we just cleaned up this and got it running, and the tests are there, and we just need to get it passing tests, there's work to be done there. And I am going to do that. We talked about it this week, and I went to go look at the calendar, but haven't actually got it on the calendar yet, but I will. So some of this stuff will definitely just get some more priority, that we're going to get a cadence down to get work done. But there are a lot of these. So they typically have, they're in a project. If you're signed into GitHub, you can see the project on the right-hand nav, and they do usually have some labels. This one, the original, doesn't have labels, but it is on that project board. And then the new one that's linked down at the bottom is, I think it's also got labels, I think. Yeah. And so those are just ways you can see it. We tend to be label heavy. We like labels. So if you want to find something, it's probably got a label on it, just so people are aware. But great, thank you for bringing that up, Andrew. That's awesome, and we'll continue to work on that.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow up.
One of those failures is pre-commit.
Yeah.
So rerunning pre-commit against that, then committing those, that should at least get it on its way.
Yep. Just needs a little help, for sure.
Well, we are about at the top of the hour. Really appreciate you guys and all your questions and participation. We love our open hour. So we'll let you all go, but please don't forget our virtual meetup next Wednesday on the 19th at 5 o'clock. And it's going to be really awesome hearing from all of our working group captains. So please come and participate. We're really looking forward to it, and we will see you there. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your Thursday.